Okay, we are calling this meeting to order. The County of San Diego, Leon L. Williams, San Diego County Human Relations Commission. We want to welcome everyone that's here. And because we have a full agenda, we're going to get right into the agenda with call to order.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll go ahead and start the roll call. Member Anaya?
Here.
Vice Chair Arton?
Present.
Member Chasen?
Present.
Member Chavez Peterson? Member Kate Clark?
Present.
Member Cinnamon Clark? Member De Los Rios?
Present.
Member Desert? Member Elliot Santos? I saw Member Elliot Santos on screen. You're muted. We'll get back to her. Member Essa will be absent the first hour. Member Evans?
Present.
Thank you. Member Fowler?
Present.
Member Gillies? She will be about 15 to 20 minutes late. She notified us. Member Gore, I saw.
Present.
Member Griffin Jones?
Present.
Member Hassan? Member Hodges?
Present.
Member Corey?
Present.
Member Murray Ramirez?
Present.
Member Chair Nash?
Present.
Member Perez?
Present.
Member Ramirez? That's Inminia Ramirez? Member Ryman? Member Roberts?
Happy to be present, ma'am.
Member Ruderman? Member Stefan? And Member Choi?
Present.
Okay. That concludes roll call. And Madam Chair.
Desert, I'm present, just 2 minutes late. Sorry about that.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay, no problem.
Good morning, everyone.
We'll mark you present, Member Desert. And we do have one request to speak, Madam Chair, from Aramike Glass Blake. If we can unmute her, please, Denise.
Okay, the caller doesn't seem to be on the meeting at this time, Claudia.
Oh, okay. I see one number with a number extension. That's not it? It's not the number extension they provided?
No, that's another caller.
I see the name now. Looks like it just popped in.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Okay, caller Glass Blake is unmuted. You may now unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello. You requested a request to speak form. You can now speak. You'll have time to up to 2 minutes to address the commission.
Definitely. Thank you for this time this morning. My name is Aramie Glass Blake, and I'm calling and a part of this meeting this morning because I wanted to bring some concerns that I know you all have heard of in regards to the incident that took place with 2 high schools, particularly when Coronado threw tortillas as if they were confetti. And I wanted to make the direct correlation between what has taken place multiple times throughout the state and throughout this county in regards to high schools and teams having racial issues, having discrimination issues, and having racial biased deep-rooted issues. And I will give those examples in regards to Lincoln High School, when San Clemente called them names that I won't even repeat. And many racial slurs happened between students and parents and faculty. And that was a couple of years ago. And then more recently, we had the Catholics versus convicts t-shirts. And so we see this pattern of racial discrimination, racial slurs, these taunts, these racial taunts continuing to happen throughout our county, throughout the state. And so I think as leaders, we all need to really step up and take a stand to say, hey, we aren't just going to continue to have these press conferences. We actually need to put policies in place throughout the county around these issues. We need to make sure that any kids participating in sports and activities have racial diversity, bias trainings, have racial sensitivity training, cultural sensitivity trainings, make sure that they all have restorative practices and restorative justice trainings. And so we need to make this a priority. And I'm coming to this group because I know that you guys can do this at the county level and then also help to advocate at the state level and make sure that we make it mandatory for CIF. If you want to participate in extracurricular activities, you need to be educated in these areas because it is not okay with the statement that the parents PTO put out today, saying that it is natural and traditional for them to throw tortillas as if it is confetti. And that if you do not know that that is racist at its core, if you do not know that is biased and harmful and painful, especially for our Latino community, then you need to be a part of the trainings to get educated in these areas, because ignorance is no longer an excuse for us. So thank you for this time, and I hope you will take this up.
Madam Chair, we have a number of hands up. Let's see, we have Nicole Murray Ramirez.
Yes, thank you for coming, talking to this commission on this issue. Do you know what happened 2 years ago at Lincoln? What happened? What was the results? Was there any action taken?
Yes, 100%. So I will try to go really fast. So we did a Monday morning. I got the call on Friday. By Monday morning, we did a press conference. And then we did restorative circles with the schools, the parents, faculty. And then we also asked that they receive the trainings that I talked about. And after an investigation, the San Clemente school did put out a statement and say that it had come to their attention and they found it to be true, all of what took place at that football game. And they brought in a third party to do a lot of the restorative trainings and the cultural diversity and sensitivity trainings. And the anti-racist trainings. And then we brought Lincoln and San Clemente together to have these conversations about the harm and the impact that was done. But this has been done on an individual level, and we're seeing that this is across the board, and that's why it needs to be done on an institutional level.
Thank you.
Just
We
one
have
more.
George. We have
Yeah.
George, Corey, Christina, Estella, and Pedro. So,
Okay,
Vice
this
Chair.
is George. Just for the information of the Commission, the American Arab Anti-Discrimination, along with CARE and other organizations, are having a press conference today in front of the Coronado School, as well as at 12 o'clock and at 5 in the evening in Escondido, in front of the Escondido School. This is a reprehensible situation. I brought it also to the attention of the Anti-Hate Crime Coalition, in order to see what can be done as an individual, as representing the ADC, not necessarily the HRC. And I encourage the HRC, even if they are, if they like to send somebody to represent the HRC to either of those press conferences, it will be more forceful in order to go ahead and fight racism and hate crimes in general amongst the communities in San Diego County. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina?
Thank you, Madam Chair Nash, and Aramik Glass Blake. Thank you so much for your comments today. I want to thank you for lifting up the terribly inappropriate, response that that Coronado, gave, right? Calling this normal and natural. And we, especially folks who live in Black bodies in this country, we know that white supremacy and anti-Black racism is normal and natural for this country. And I appreciate you too, drawing that web, connecting the incidents of anti-Black racism that Lincoln High School athletes experience and that predominantly Latinx athletes are experiencing, because it's really important for people in this commission, folks in this county, folks in this country, folks in this world to understand that when anti-Black racism is taken away and white supremacy is removed, uprooted, dismantled, then everybody will be okay. I'm excited about steps that our commission can identify to be of more assistance. And I'm really thankful to Aramik Glass Blake that you're inviting us to show up. And I think we have an opportunity and a duty, dare I say, to make sure that these ignorant parents get training as well, because these students' behavior is connected to the examples of that we're seeing. I just want to thank you so much, and I'm really excited about our group showing up. I know that we, I don't know if we've already released our commission statement about the most recent terrible racist actions that have happened to Lincoln High School students. I know that we'll probably be doing a statement as well, but I totally agree with you, and I appreciate you, Aramik Glass Blake, for lifting up. More is needed. And 2020, that was the year of learning, and right. 2021, that's the year of action and turn up. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Christina. Estella?
Yes. Thank you, Aramik, for those comments. I sincerely appreciate everything that my colleagues have been saying here, my fellow commissioners. As a commissioner, I just want to say, there has been more and more of this from board members, Lincoln High School. I mean, it's just been going on for at least probably the last 8 months now. And it goes back to education and outreach, but it's more than that. We have to really take action and be progressive as the Human Relations Commission. I know at one time we spoke about being involved and doing a press statement. I don't know if we want to revisit that again, but I think we should, because this is what our commission is all about in regards to against hate and bridging communities and bridging communication and understanding. So I just wanted to add that because I think it's our obligation and our role as the Human Relations Commission to address this. Thank you.
Thank you. Pedro, then Cara, and then Rodney.
Good morning. I want to thank the caller for bringing this up as we prepared for the call this morning. This was weighing heavy on my mind anyway. And so I'm glad that it's been brought up, because I wasn't sure where in our agenda we were going to fit this in. But I appreciate the speaker, the caller this morning, bringing up the recent history. But I do want to remind this commission that this is not the first time we see this very exact incident happen in our county. Some of you may remember in the mid-90s, the same very exact thing happened between a basketball game at Bonita Vista High School versus Southwest High School in South County. Right before this pandemic hit, a similar incident with tortillas also happened at another game. So we've been seeing this for quite some time. And I had the opportunity, I think about a week ago, to sit down with our was our chairperson and just kind of talk about what our mission and our goals are. And ironically, before any of this happened, I said, you know, what I think is missing, and I think what part of our mission or should be, and this is just my personal opinion, is that we need to create spaces where we can have dialogue and discussions with young people, because we're seeing a rise of incidents between our young people. And then lo and behold, this happens.
Right.
I think our commission really needs to begin exploring how we can make some, you know, systemic change within our county to develop or elevate some of the same youth programs and conversations that happen at Lincoln High School, not as a reaction, but as a standard. So I really like the recommendation of, you know, athletes needing to go through some type of training. Shoot, professional athletes go through professional training. Why shouldn't our young people, our college athletes, go through professional trainings around diversity and media training, et cetera, et cetera? Why shouldn't our young people do that? So I really like that conversation, but on a deeper level, I'm wondering if our commission at some point, if not sooner rather than later, can have a dialogue about how do we push our county to allocate the resources to support our schools and others in this type of programming and conversation. I do believe at one point, for example, San Diego Unified School District had an Office of Race and Human Relations. If I understand correctly, that office was dismantled. For whatever reason, I don't know the reasons. I'm assuming it's going to be always going back to like budget. I know we're having a lot of political conversations nationally about, you know, can we have these conversations? Well, I obviously think we need them. So I think as a commission, I would recommend beginning to explore the process of how do we push and how to, for the resources to not be reactive to the incident, but start tackling these incidents before they even happen. I often joke that adults are broken and I can't fix them. So, you know, but young people, I think, have the capacity to do this work, this human relations work, a lot better than any of us. And so I think that's where our investment needs to be, to avoid these kind of things continuing to happen. So for what it's worth, those are my 2 cents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kara, Commissioner Kara, then Warsan, at Commissioner Tammy, and Commissioner Chait Kaysen.
I think you skipped me.
In all due respect, I want to say this is very important. And I know we have a full agenda, but we need to pay attention to this now. Thank you.
Hey, Chair Nash.
Yes, sir.
I think
Yes.
I had my hand up, but I lowered it after you recognized me.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just appreciate all the input from the callers on this subject. You know, most parents and adults out there, when they see an incident like this that pops up in the local media on the national news, they kind of want to sit back and see what the administration or what the authorities are going to do in those particular venues. My business agent and I are actually headed over to Coronado for an 11 o'clock negotiation session meeting. So I'm going to be kind of scoping out to see what's actually going on over. I heard Brother George say he's headed over there. We're headed over there for business, but I think we already have someone else on the call here said it earlier. We already have the mechanisms. Sports is a privilege. It's not a right. The CIF needs to take a stronger position and create some policies and procedures to deal with these type of incidents, because this should not be left up to an individual principal, individual district to do something and deviate and just miss it as frat boy type behavior or young kids acting out. These are high school kids that are still under their parents or guardians responsibility. So these type of behaviors are learned at home and tolerated, and then you turn into an adult and you take it out into the adult world. So I believe that the tools are already there. Some of the tools are already on the ground with the CIF, and probably they need to have some more diversity on the commission and the CIF to make sure that these type of problems are thought of before, and that, because I've seen the whole gym cleared out in urban schools when there's something happens that they've got the school police there, they got the administration there, and actually fans are held accountable at the loss of the team. And I know the game was over, And I understand from the news reports that there was that an adult was the one that brought this in, and then once that happened, the kids started participating in it. But there should be some repercussions, consequences. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Carr?
Not sure if everyone saw the statement from Coronado High School, but I want to focus on one piece of it here. Part of what Coronado High School said to defend itself is we have a diverse coaching staff. Half our coaching staff are Black folks. That was, there's so much about this incident that is wrong and that feels wrong in our hearts, but using Black people as a shield to defend racist acts against Latino people is horrible. So I just wanted to center that for a second and express my outrage and my deep sadness that an institution tried to use Black people as a shield in that way. And I also want to shine a light on the Black-Brown solidarity that I am seeing in this meeting here. I want to thank everyone who has spoken. And I just want to call out that we have a lot of work to do. We have some Black-Brown tension in our region, like many regions, and we have work to do to build real solidarity and community amongst our Black and Brown folks here in San Diego. And I have great faith because of what I've seen and heard already in this meeting, that we in this commission are creating Black-Brown solidarity and are deepening our commitment to each other. That's a beautiful thing, and I think that we can help lead our region in that way. So I wanted just to shine a light on another horrific harm from Coronado High School, and just to call out that we have work to do, in particular with Black-Brown solidarity. And this meeting and the leadership of these commissioners, it feels like an injury to one is an injury to all in this meeting today. That's a beautiful thing, and I just wanted to lift that up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vice Chair Washan?
Thanks, Chair Ellen. A lot of things that I wanted to say have already been said by fellow commission members. But the one thing that I want to add is we need to stop, whenever a hate crime takes in a, place in a public forum, acting surprised and pretending like that's the first time it happened or that's the only place where it happens, right? I think a lot of these hate crimes also take place privately. There are kids in those schools who are getting bullied. I know because I work with young people who have talked about their experiences, right? It's not a one-time thing. It's not something that happens publicly at games. It's something that happens constantly where kids face that type of hate from their fellow classmates. So I really think that we need to dive deep into this issue and make sure we're addressing the root of it, and make sure that we're not just, responding to when those hate crimes take publicly, but we're addressing it and realizing that it's a day-to-day thing. And also, just broader than the school itself, that these kids learn that this hate from somewhere. They learn it from their households, they learn it from their families, and we need to address it community-wide, not just, specifically when it comes to the kids. That's just my 2 cents. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Tammy?
Thank you. So just following up on what Warsan was talking about, if you have been following the Coronado School Board meetings way prior to this incident, there's a group of parents, and parents are the influencers. They have actually been trying to push ADL and some of our work out of the schools because we are teaching anti-bias. We are teaching about racism. They don't want us talking about the LGBTQ community. They don't want us talking about uplifting Black and Brown voices. It's the parents that are leading the charge on this. And so even if we have programs in the schools, we have to also think about, it's the parents influencing the school boards. So that's a big piece. And I think that this commission can have a big voice in helping this issue.
Thank you. Commissioner Kate Chasen?
So I'm 17. I'm a rising senior in high school. And so whether I like it or not, this is my issue. Like whether I like it or not, these are my people. Like this is who I'm representing. And it, above anything else, I can say it's appalling and it is disgusting and it's disgraceful, which it is, but it is so disappointing. The action that has been taken by the students and by the parent or the parents, because this is one taste of a much larger societal issue that we deal with. And a lot of people have tossed around the word education, and the word preventative and anticipatory. And those are truly the best ways to deal with these issues, is to pressure the school districts and to pressure the school boards to make education so that my people, when we are the ones that are in those seats of power, that we have a broader holistic understanding of the implications of such horrid hate crimes. So I just wanted to keep it brief, but to take action and to very highly encourage these people that actually can make the change to do it, so we don't have to have these repeated actions and these repeated hate crimes in high school with teenagers. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gina, and then Commissioner Elena.
That was my first statement back. First of all, I want to say that it bothers me a little bit that the comment was made that this is only about black and brown solidarity. It's about everybody being concerned about this and seeing it as reprehensible and despicable. And I just want to make that clear that this is an issue that not only affects certain sectors of the community, but all sectors of the community, and we need to address it that way. Personally, I find it terrible. That would have been something in high school. I would have been down yelling at those people and fixing it. So anyways, all done. I think Commissioner Perez is next.
Thank you. Commissioner Elena?
Yes, I just want to echo everybody's sentiments on this. I'm not going to, of course, repeat everything. I think we've all heard it. It does sound like we're all in agreement that action needs taken. I truly believe a lot of this starts at home. And what I don't like is that I don't see any actual repercussions being taken. Like, why aren't these kids being expelled? Like, I just don't see them taking it to that level. And I agree. I believe Commissioner Fowler might have said that we need to hold accountable, maybe the CIF, maybe the sports programs, to say, sign this waiver. And if you break what the waiver is saying, you will be, expelled from sports or even from school, because these kids are just going way too far with this stuff. And I also don't think anybody's really doing, I think we talk about it a lot, but what is that action? So from my part, I'd like to make a motion that we actually set this up as an agenda item to have, and I know we're all making quick comments, but to have some sort of discussion about it, and then take action as to what is the commission going to do to support this. Are we going to go talk to the sports program? Are we going to go, what are we going to do? Because I do think action is needed, and I think our presence is needed, because it would speak loud that we are up there saying this is the county, this is the Human Relations County Commission, and I would like to see that we do something. So I would like to set that motion that we put it as an agenda item for the next meeting, make it an urgent discussion, and come out of there with an action plan. Thank you.
And I second that motion.
So move.
So for purposes of the commission, you can certainly make that motion. It is not required. It can certainly be placed onto the next agenda also as discretionary, but you have a motion and a second, and we can take the roll call to place that onto I think you said the next agenda?
Yes, that would be great.
Next agenda item. Okay, is there any, Madam Chair, as we have that item, is there any discussion as to that motion?
This is
There were three other hands up. I'm going to make my comments after everyone else has made their comments, and then we can go to the motion.
Okay.
It was Commissioner Christina, Commissioner George, and Commissioner Warsan. I'm sorry I'm calling you all by your first name, but right now I'm just a little bit emotional about this. So Christina?
It's okay, Madam Chair. I've spoken already, and I'd
Okay.
like her to be able to hear your comments.
Okay. Commissioner Warsan?
Thanks, Chair. Just really quick, I wanted to add something to what Commissioner Alina Press said. I agree 100% support that. I also think that I would like to see this commission also engage the community, and like our broader goal, like long-term goal, be part of that be also like engaging the community when it comes to their experiences with hate, discrimination, and so on and so forth. And even if we have to focus, like for example, like do focus groups throughout, like the schools in the region and things like that, kind of hearing from the community in order to figure out what we need to address and where. And that part of our plan moving forward.
Thank you.
Okay, this is Commissioner Khoury. Madam Chair, I second and third whatever Ms. Perez has asked for. I would think that we shouldn't wait for the next meeting on the agenda, but go ahead and have a special meeting to discuss this matter, as well as I would maybe add to it that somebody representing the commission would attend one of the press conferences that are taking place today to go ahead and extend the support to the situation matter, because this is really a matter that requires action, and the Human Relations Commission should be the place that will have to come up with an action plan against such racist incidents. Thank you.
Thank you. My comments are, I agree with everything that has been said. This is very upsetting to all of us. I would like to take action number one to work with the communications committee to immediately put together a press release from HRC, and I will write that up and we'll run it by the commissions as soon as possible. I see this and I agree with all of you. This is a sense of urgency. So I agree that we need to, it needs to come on the agenda as an agenda, but it needs to be taken up in an urgent way. So I would recommend that we hold a special meeting. I agree with Commissioner Khoury to talk about next steps. Second and thirdly, yes, today I will definitely attend the press conference. Send me the directions. I will be there. Commissioner Anaya and I did have lunch last week and talked about a program that Commissioner Anaya had put together several years ago that probably never should have ended. I have an issue around youth programs ending as well. But that program never should have ended. It dealt with the very same things that are happening today. So we want to, one of the pillars and legacy that as a HRC we should lead to this San Diego County is a youth related committee, first of all, that's established by the HRC. I would welcome all to join that committee, but it was going to be led by youth, a young person, and we have young commissioners here. So let's talk about creating a youth committee around this, and also putting together a version of the program that Pedro had implemented many years ago. I think it's called, help me, correct me if I'm wrong, Camp Anytime. Actually, my kids attended it. They were changed forever. So these are the immediate steps will be, number one, attending the press conference today. Number two, meeting with the communications committee to put together a press release as soon as possible. And thirdly, yes, adding this to the agenda, but calling a special meeting.
Madam Chair, we can certainly can call that special meeting. If you could let me know the date you'd like to hold it, we will put that agenda together for the items of discussion that you all have outlined.
Do I need
Okay.
to amend, do I need to amend the motion to include that? Because I'm totally in agreement with a sense of urgency and not waiting till the next meeting. I just know we had to discuss it. We had to put it on an agenda. Do I need to amend the motion to call for a special meeting?
We could do it all in the same agenda. I mean, sorry, all in the same motion if you amend your motion and if the second will agree.
Yes, so the motion will be amended to call a special meeting, I would say as soon as the first available date, to discuss this matter and action to be taken, to come out of there with action to be taken on that item.
And the second would agree.
Madam Chair, we will work to calendar that special meeting as soon as possible. It does require 24 hours notice for posting, so we can do so. If you'd like, we can do that this Friday or if this Thursday, whichever is your pleasure.
All right, can we set the date today, like next Tuesday at 10?
We can certainly do that.
Thank you.
So next Tuesday, that is a budget hearing day, I believe. Yes.
How about Monday?
Monday? Next Monday at 10?
We could do Monday at 10. And for folks, Madam Chair, folks are using the chat for substantive communications as opposed to just technical and arrival and departure issues. So in compliance with the Brown Act, because this is a public meeting, comments should be made and voiced as opposed to the sidebar chats going back and forth, please. So next Monday, or this coming Monday, I believe is the 28th.
28th.
Okay. At 10 a.m. We will send out that notice and have it posted for the items as part of the motion. And we will call roll for the vote. If you're ready, Madam Chair, I do see a couple of hands up more.
A few more hands are up.
I saw.
Yeah, my hand's up.
Okay, Commissioner Evans.
Yes, Monday I have an all-day school board meeting. The 28th.
Okay.
But also, we need to contact. I'm a delegate to the California School Board Association, and we have a San Diego chapter unit, whatever you want to call it. And one of our members, Dawn Perfect, who's a school board member, Ramona School Board member, is a member of the CSF. And I'm wondering if we can have more direct contact in terms of talking to her or have her attend the meeting or whatever. Because she's very much involved with making policy and helping to implement CSF policies. So there's two things. That's it.
Okay, the special, we could talk about that at the special meeting in terms of our steps going forward. But Commissioner Evans, you're not available on Monday at 10, right? You have, is that what you're saying? You have an all day?
Yeah, it's going to be from 9 till at least 2.
Okay. Okay. The sense of urgency is we need to move forward. Yes. Commissioner Evans, and I will keep you informed of what the outcomes of that meeting. And you're a very important part of that because you are a school board member. And so we need your voice definitely. But Monday we're going to move forward and then I'll bring you up to speed on where we are.
I would greatly appreciate that.
And Chair Nash, if Member Evans had some thoughts and recommendations she'd like to forward to the commission, that could be,
yes,
they would be obviously made public, and she can share those in advance of the meeting to go out.
Okay.
Thank you. I will.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Evans. Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. I see Commissioner Estella, Commissioner Christina, and Commissioner Wasan.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash.
Sure.
I'd like to ensure that we're going to have a statement for today's press conference, and I realize it's at 12 o'clock, right when our meeting is over. But I feel the sense of urgency that we should take action today.
Okay. Commissioner, would you like to work with me and we can put that statement together?
Did we lose?
Did we lose one?
I'm looking, it looks like she dropped.
Oh, okay.
If you'd like to reach out to her.
Okay, I'll reach out to her. Okay.
Were you speaking to me? I'm sorry.
Yes, would you, I'm sorry. Would you like?
I wasn't sure who you were speaking to. My apologies.
Oh, that's okay. I thought we could, work together to put a statement out today. For
Sure.
closing business today.
Okay. I'll work with you. I'll work with you.
My communications committee.
This is Commissioner Khoury. By the way, there are two press conferences. One is in Coronado at 12, but there's another one at 5 in the evening in Escondido. So if you cannot make the 12 o'clock meeting or press conference, you can make the 5 o'clock one in Escondido.
Okay. Can you send us the address, Commissioner Khoury?
Yes, ma'am.
And Chair Nash, you still have members Anaya, or Arton, and Griffin Jones hands up.
Okay. Please speak in that order, commissioners. Thank you.
Okay, I think I was next. I'd be happy to help work on a statement with you guys, but I would also recommend we keep it short for now. It should be nothing more than this item, this item was discussed today at our meeting. The commission in general is very concerned and upset, or however we want to frame it, blah, 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 blah. And we will continue. We are continuing to monitor this, and we will be having a special meeting to discuss further involvement by the county moving forward, the Human Relations Commission moving further. I'd be very careful with saying too much. Let others that are more connected speak. And just say that we are engaged, we are involved, we are monitoring, and we will be making recommendations. I keep it something like that if at all possible. I know that our instinct would be to say more, especially those that are emotional about this. I have a lot on my mind that I would say. However, thinking from a public affairs perspective, a public relations perspective, let's not put ourselves in a box just yet until we have our own meeting to discuss what actions we can take, and then we can make a stronger statement.
Yes, sir. Agree.
I think I'm next.
Member Warson, Arton was next, and then Christina.
Christina
Jones.
Okay. Oh no, I'll go after Member Warson.
Christina, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sis. I wanted to ask if the motion could be repeated, because I think I didn't catch all of it. And then I also wanted to ask if there would be another time on the agenda where I can mention another hate incident that happened on a beach. Some white folks attacked some of our Asian community members. Someone who's like a nephew to me was hospitalized for 3 days behind the incident. And then I also wanted to ask if maybe we could put on the agenda for another meeting, talking about like Robert Rules of Order and the Brown Act and the use of the chat. I know that we're not together physically, and I love the increased amount of participation that online spaces have given our communities to engage. But in my community, nonverbal cues like facial expressions and sounds and words and sounds of affirmations are something that make us feel comfortable, and that's what I've seen the chat be used for. And I would like for us to be able to use the chat to be like, keep doing what you're doing, keep saying what you're saying. I agree in figuring out a way where that can be added, because I know in Zoom you can save the chat. If that's something that could be possible, but something added on the agenda And then I also want to encourage our group not to separate ourselves from emotion or making very, very bold statements that we may have to take back later. I'm somebody who I think that it is us perpetuating white supremacy when we try to be cold about something that is very hurtful and harmful. And I also appreciate Commissioner Pedro for lifting up, making sure we're giving space for those folks who were most impacted to speak. And hopefully if folks do have relationships with people who, with students who were there that day, you know, communicating to them that they have a group of people like us behind them, and we want to support and care for them in whatever way that looks like. So, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Christina. Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing that I was going to say is I will not be able to make it to the meeting on Monday. If it is not too much, is it possible to do after work meeting if we're doing like an emergency meeting later in the afternoon or like in the evening?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is an urgency, and I want to make sure we include as many voices as possible. But we want to, this one is, if you can show up, please show up. If you can't, I will inform you of what our next steps will be. We will keep you included, definitely.
So Madam Chair, right now we have the motion was to for the special meeting to be called for Monday, June 28th. It would be at 10 a.m. If you all want to change that time frame, we can do that. Part of that motion also, the purpose of the special meeting was to discuss the recent high school incidences of involving racism and discrimination issues, so that this commission can decide what action and types of action and steps moving forward.
Yeah, so maybe I wasn't clear. I was asking if we can move it to after 5 p.m. Next Monday instead of at 10, if that is feasible for everyone.
I'll tell you what, we'll do an email, and I'll put out both. I'm flexible, and so we'll put out an email, Claudia, with both times, and whoever can show up, the most that can show up at either time will be there.
Okay. Yes, we will need a quorum. So what we'll do, I'll send out an email. You all can respond back to staff as to whether you're available for both or only one of those times, and then I'll confer with the chair and let you all know.
Thank you.
No problem.
So Madam Chair, there was a motion to call the special meeting for Monday, June 28th. The time will be determined upon availability, confirmation, so that this commission can, on its agenda, discuss the recent incidences and high school incidences involving discrimination and hate incidences, so that this commission can determine what action it can take and steps moving forward.
Great.
I'll call the roll. Pedro Anaya.
Yes.
Warsan Artan.
Aye.
Kate Chasen.
Aye.
Kate Clark.
Yes.
Cinnamon Clark. Estela de los Rios.
Yes.
Cara Desert.
Yes.
Angela Elliott Santos.
Aye.
Rashid Essa. Eleanor Evans.
Yes.
Rodney Fowler.
Yes.
Tammy Gillies.
Yes.
Bill Gore.
Yes.
Christina Griffin Jones.
Yes.
Taha Hassan.
Yes.
Dennis Hodges.
Yes.
George Corey.
Yes.
Nicole Murray Ramirez.
Yes.
Gina Roberts.
Yes, ma'am.
Ellen Nash. Sorry about this.
Yes.
Herminia Ramirez is not on. Summer Steffen. I know I saw her. Samuel Choi.
Aye.
And did we lose Summer Steffen? think she's on mute. Okay. She's having technical.
Yeah, she's on mute.
That vote carries unanimously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You didn't call on me, but I don't know if it matters.
I didn't? Oh, I am
No.
so sorry. No, that was my mistake. I somehow, Elena Perez.
Aye.
So sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. That motion does carry unanimously.
Great. Now we will move to introduce the new commission members.
Yes. Madam Chair, I'll go ahead and share my screen to pull up that item. Let's see. And of course, it's not. So we do have a new commission member. District 5 made a new appointment, and we have a commission member. Our newly appointed commission member is one who is returning to us, and that is Gina Roberts.
Well, hi, everybody. Super glad to be back. I have the distinction of being the first member that's had to leave because of term out and requested to come back. Really looking forward to working with everybody. I represent a little bit different demographic in terms of politics than some of you, but I think I've showed pretty well that I love to work with everybody and hear everybody's point of view, and can really come to appreciate a lot of you people and what we're doing here. I want to keep the focus at the big picture, trying to get the big problem solved, and I offer myself to do that. I'd also like to get involved at the strategic planning committee and the public safety committee as the time is appropriate to enter those groups. I'm just glad to be back, glad to see everybody, and hope we can keep this work going forward.
Gina, congratulations. We're glad to have you back.
Thank you, Ellen. I appreciate it. This place keeps doing that whole onion ninja thing runs through my office. My eyes get drippy. So.
Welcome back, Gina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I am now, the PowerPoint is now coming up onto screen. And it's at the end. So let me get back up there. The next item on the agenda is the strategic planning and update from the ad hoc committee. Our ad hoc members for, not sure what's going on. The the ad hoc committee members are Christina Griffin-Jones, Eleanor Evans, George Corey, Ellen Nash, and Angela Elliott Santos. And they have already met a couple of times. Let's see if we can get, it was working. Okay.
It says your screen is showing, but I don't see it.
And it worked 15 minutes before the meeting. So Denise, can you please give Andrew Strong screen sharing so he can pull it up on his screen?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and start. In the meanwhile, the ad hoc subcommittee has met, and to give you all just a quick report of what's going on and also an opportunity to discuss some of the certain matters to review with you. They've reviewed the themes that were gleaned from the mission statement work that was done for the Office of Equity and Racial Justice involving this commission. And the ad hoc subcommittee, in regards to the strategic planning, wants to focus on the community engagement to solicit communities on how they would like to see this commission promoting positive human relations. So what they have done is they have put together a community engagement strategy and to host 4 community meetings, also solicit email comments, and have a phone line dedicated for voicemail messages to provide input. We did distribute to the commission, and what was posted on the webpage, thank you, was the flyer from, the proposed flyer to be sent out. The community meeting dates that were proposed by the subcommittee are July 19th. Next slide. There we go. Next slide. July 19th during its ad hoc meeting. July 22nd during an evening meeting to increase the ability of community to attend after the workday. one Sunday morning meeting from 10 to 11:30 and one Sunday meeting. July 25th would be the Sunday morning meeting and July 31st, the Saturday meeting. Respectful that the day of Sabbath is on Sundays for some and Saturdays on others. We have drafted a flyer that lists the community meetings. It states the purpose at the top. This was reviewed at the Ad Hoc Commission Strategic Planning Commission meeting, and they asked that it be brought forward to this commission for review and input. It does still need some input, such as the dedicated phone line, which we will have this week, as well as the Zoom links. But other than that, this is the proposed draft where we have the purpose of the commission stated and some description as to what the purpose of the request of the community meetings, which is to solicit their input. So what we're asking from you today is this commission, what the subcommittee was asking of the commission today was, are the community meetings approach consistent with what you all had envisioned as part of the ad hoc's movement forward in doing the strategic planning? The flyer, make sure you all are comfortable with the flyer. And once it's completed, which will be within a day or so with that additional information, to be each commission member to distribute that flyer to their networks, so that it can be received, so that the public can provide its input. The flyer will be posted on the HRC's webpage, which does have Google Translate, and we will seek to have it translated into other languages, which will take a little bit of additional time. But as you can see, we did schedule the meetings out almost about a month out to provide folks sufficient time to plan accordingly. So with that, I didn't know if any of the other subcommittee members wanted to add anything further. I tried to capture what you all wanted us to report back on, and look forward to hearing from the commission. I don't see any hands up. Oh, Member Roberts?
As the newbie, I like it. As a newbie oldie.
Okay. Member Vice Chair Arton?
Yeah, I really appreciate this. I really love the phone, dedicated phone idea. Did we talk about engagement around language, like the people who don't speak English? And when it comes to both the community meetings and the phone line, we will have interpretation if people who don't speak English engage in those.
So in regards to the phone line, it would be a dedicated phone line for them to leave messages, voicemail messages. So when they come in and we hear the messages, we will be able to obtain the appropriate translation.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. In regards to the public meetings, what we did last time was we solicited prior to the meetings if people needed translation services so that we could have the appropriate translators available.
Okay, perfect.
Member Perez?
Okay.
Yes, I agree with the community meetings. I like that you're giving options for a Saturday, Sunday, and even an evening, because people do have different schedules, but at least that way it opens it up. We're not kind of blocking anybody out. You know, those are really good. Those are really good options. I think it covers it all. The flyer seems a little bit busy to me. And again, this is just my opinion. It seems a little bit too much wording in there.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if that could be kind of, summarized a little bit more. And as far as distribution to their networks, so you would send us a flyer for us to then distribute to our networks directly ourselves?
Yes, in addition to that, the distribution that we had compiled from everyone's input during the mission statement work would also be sent to those emails also. But
okay.
what the ad hoc subcommittee was asking is, this commission, you as members all have various networks to various community organizations and such, and we would ask that you assist in providing the distribution to that.
Okay, got it. And also just want to thank the ad hoc committee. That's great work. I mean, I know it takes a lot of time. Strategic meetings are always difficult, but I think this is a good way of us communicating the information in a broad way and giving everybody the opportunity for the feedback. So thank you all for all that work.
And we can work on making it less busy looking. I think we could probably trim a little bit off of here.
Thank you.
Well, you've got some repetition on it.
Yes, so we can clean that up. And Vice Chair Arton?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to lower it.
Oh, okay. Madam Chair, I don't see any other hands up.
Okay.
Okay. That concludes the update from the ad hoc strategic planning subcommittee.
Great. We're going to go to the
next-
public safety.
Yes, so
Okay.
the Public Safety Subcommittee held their first couple of meetings. Those, you see the list of our members on the slide. All 9 members have met and they decided to host their meetings on the first Monday of the month on non-holiday Monday. So there's going to be a couple of Mondays where it'll be the second. And they've also discussed their scope and how to include their stakeholders. In regards to their scope, the next slide, they're going to be focusing, they recommend the scope be matters related to law enforcement and the community as a resource to refer matters that arise at the HRC, like during public comment, which can be discussed in further detail at the subcommittee and reported back to the commission. The subcommittee sees itself as being able to take a deeper dive into issues such as hate crimes and learn about the issues, what coalitions exist, how groups are coordinating, and what is the available data. And the subcommittee did suggest that the scope retain flexibility so that it can provide that opportunity to take those deep dives. I see a hand up. Member Griffin-Jones?
Yeah, can we go back to the first slide? That one, yeah. In the matters related to law enforcement and community, I see on there that Sheriff Gore is a part of this commission. And as all of us know, right, the amount of people being killed and dying in our San Diego County Jail is something that is a human rights issue. I'm worried about that conflict with Sheriff Gore being on there. And I'm also concerned, and I hope that the intention of this group isn't to work as police officers and law enforcement's public relations, because that's not our group's responsibility. Our group is supposed to be showing up for community members and that inter-community conflict. And I know for me, because of my experiences with law enforcement and the people that I know and myself have been harmed by law enforcement, especially this summer and times before, I'd be very uncomfortable knowing that I was a part of a group that was trying to make San Diego County community, again, the fact that our county jail has such a terrible reputation in killing and harming community members who live there, I'd be really uncomfortable thinking that that was my role to improve that. So I hope that's not in the scope of this group to encourage community members to have more trust in law enforcement.
I didn't have there, and we certainly have the subcommittee members here. Public relations was not what was discussed. It was acting as a liaison to promote increasing, alleviating conflict between groups, the community and law enforcement and such. So that's what it was for. And it was not considered it separately there. They discussed the scope of CLRB, which is the investigatory body. So, and I see member Robert's hand up.
I'd just like to ask the commission to consider putting me on this organization.
This commission, this subcommittee has 9 members on it. So that would take a vote of the membership of the commission to add another member. So is there another hand raised?
I guess my question would be, how do I generate that or get that to happen?
So you made the request, and if we can have someone can make a motion.
I'd be happy
and a second.
to make a motion to include Gina in the Public Safety Subcommittee. Sheriff Gore.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Any discussion? I see hands up.
I believe Sheriff Gore, Christina Griffin-Jones, and Gina Roberts have their hand up. 2 hands went down. Wait, I'm sorry, they're flashing. Member Griffin-Jones, is your hand up?
Yes, sorry, I wanted to be on the committee too, the subcommittee.
Okay, so we'll have 11 folks. Okay.
I see Nicole's, Commissioner
Is
Nicole.
Nicole's hand up? Okay.
Yes.
Nicole Murray Ramirez?
Yes, and all due respects, I believe our chair at one time mentioned that we should all be respectful to each other. I absolutely understand that many of us disagree in different situations, but the statement that people are being murdered in the county jail is an incorrect statement. And it seems to me, once again, in all due respect, that Sheriff Gore continues to be disrespected in some of the statements. I absolutely do not believe any of us are not in support and involved with the situation on police reform and reform as a whole. But I just feel that, Madam Chair, when these things happen, that you should definitely make sure that they don't continue.
Okay, who else has a hand up? Let's see. I'm looking for the hands that were raised. There was Member Griffin-Jones, and that was Nicole Marie Ramirez. Okay. He put it down. Okay. So we do have a motion to add Gina Roberts to the subcommittee, and there was another member, Griffin-Jones, also asked to be considered, but to be placed on this subcommittee. That would require a motion and a second. Are there any other discussion in regards to the first motion to add Gina Roberts? If not, Madam Chair, we can call the roll on that.
So would that motion include adding Commissioner Christina Griffith?
So the maker of the motion could add, if they'd like to amend their motion to add Christina Griffin-Jones, that would be fine, and the second would could agree to the amendment.
This is Commissioner Khoury. Can we amend it?
That's what we were just discussing. So
yes.
I believe Member Gore was just trying to speak.
Yeah,
Member Gore?
So I think we had to vote on the new membership separately.
You want to do them separately? So,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay. So we have a motion. We'll go ahead and take the roll call. There is a few more slides after that, but we can go ahead and take that motion quickly. Pedro Anaya?
Can you please repeat the motion for me?
To add Gina Roberts to the Public Safety Subcommittee.
Aye.
Warsan Arton?
Aye.
Kate Chasen?
Aye.
Kate Clark?
Aye.
Estela de los Rios?
Aye.
Kara Desert?
Aye.
Angela Elliott Santos?
Aye.
Rashid Essa? Eleanor Evans?
Aye.
Rodney Fowler?
Aye.
Tammy Gillies?
Aye.
Bill Gore?
Aye.
Christina Griffin-Jones? Christina Griffin-Jones?
Aye. Can you hear me?
We did now. Yeah, we didn't hear you at first. Taha Hassan?
Aye.
Dennis Hodges?
Aye.
George Khoury?
Aye.
Nicole Marie Ramirez?
Aye.
Ellen Nash?
Aye.
Elena Perez?
Aye.
Gina Roberts?
Oh, I'll be an aye.
Summer Steffen?
Aye.
Samuel Choi?
Aye.
That motion carries with unanimous vote.
Thank you.
We would need a separate motion to add Member Griffin Jones.
This is Commissioner Khoury. I'd like to move with a motion to add Christina to the committee or the subcommittee.
Second.
I second. Oh,
So the maker of the motion was Khoury, and the second was?
I second.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Rodney, you go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to add Member Griffin Jones to the Public Safety Subcommittee. We'll go ahead and take that roll call vote. Pedro Anaya?
Aye.
Warsan Arton?
Aye.
Kate Chasen?
Aye.
Kate Clark?
Aye.
Estela de los Rios?
Aye.
Kara Desert?
Aye.
Angela Elliott Santos?
Aye.
Eleanor Evans?
Aye.
Rashid Essa? I thought he was on. Rodney Fowler?
Aye.
Tammy Gillies?
Aye.
Bill Gore?
Aye.
Christina Griffin Jones?
Aye.
Taha Hassan?
Aye.
Dennis Hodges?
Aye.
George Khoury?
Aye.
Nicole Murray Ramirez?
Aye.
Ellen Nash?
Aye.
Elena Perez?
Aye.
Gina Roberts?
Aye, ma'am.
Summer Steffen?
Aye.
Samuel Choi?
Aye.
That motion carries with a unanimous vote. So in addition to discussing their scope, the subcommittee also selected officers. Member Estela dos Rios was selected as chair and Member Evans as vice chair. They also discussed the stakeholders. Can we move to that stakeholder slide? It's the slide before. Pursuant to the discussion that began at the commission meeting about including and reaching out to stakeholders, the subcommittee discussed whether to add seats for specific stakeholders or to engage them in another manner. Overall, the consensus was that adding seats could necessarily exclude others because there would only be a limited number of seats and there would be other groups that by definition would be excluded. And instead what the subcommittee discussed, it would be more beneficial and inclusive to have stakeholders participating at meetings on areas of their focus, thus providing the subcommittee flexibility to address and take deeper dives into issues of community interest. If we can go next slide. And then they did have a presentation at their first meeting. They were taking care of their scope and the stakeholders and selection of officers and what else was needed to be done, and talked about some presentations. And they did have a presentation at their last meeting from the Racial Justice Coalition of San Diego and have requested additional presentations on law enforcement and mental health. That concludes the update from the subcommittee. And for this, our two newest members, members Roberts and Griffin Jones, we will send you the information as to the meeting calendars and get those on your calendars.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, there is a hand raised by Member Griffin Jones.
Yes, Commissioner Christina.
Yes, Madam Chair. I wanted to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to serve on this commission, and I also wanted to just revisiting what Member Nicole lifted up. Madam Chair, I don't want you to have to be responsible for telling me to be respectful towards members of law enforcement here. There is a member of our community, Michael R. Wilson, and others who have died or been killed in San Diego County Jail. I think that the district attorney and Sheriff Gore I think that they know that the jobs that they're in, and if they can't take community accountability or honest feedback, they should not be in those positions. And also I want to encourage member Nicole to really reflect on the way that they talk vaguely about checking women or femmes, especially Black women or femmes in spaces of power as this one. And I can give you my email address and stuff like that, Nicole, but I think that my behavior is appropriate and professional, and it definitely is me representing for the groups that I was selected on this commission too. So I wanted to apologize for if I placed you in a weird position, Madam Chair, and thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your votes.
Thank you.
This is
Thank you,
Eleanor Evans.
Commissioner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Commissioner, thank you. Those were really courageous words for you to share, because on a more personal level, I've also have felt that and experienced that kind of, those unkind words from the fellow commissioners that you stated. So I do appreciate you saying that. I held my tongue because I'm more concerned about the larger issue of us being organized as a unit, but I'm very much in agreement with what you say. And again, you know, I was slightly horrified when I was literally shouted at, as well as the words that were said. So thank you.
Chair Nash, we also
Thank you.
have Member Fowler's hand raised.
Commissioner Fowler?
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate your comments, Christina. And I've met, you know, I've worked with you, I've met you, I know you. So I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate Commissioner Evans' comments also. We all come from different perspectives, and, you know, our perspectives are important. But one thing, since I've been on this panel, the one thing I can say that the district attorney and the sheriff have participated, and on this most recent action, both the sheriff and the district attorney voted for to be on the subcommittee committee. So, you know, I think that's a good start. And of course, I do agree with you, Christina, about, you know, if you can't stand the heat, but those people are elected officers in their positions with the whole county, so they certainly should be in the position to be able to understand some heat. But hopefully, what we all bring to the table is that when we put our effort and our energy into these meetings, that we're trying to come out with something to benefit the community as a whole. In addition to our individual concerns and experiences, our benefit should be to benefit the citizens of the county of San Diego, and hopefully, you know, be an example for the nation. But I appreciate your comments, and I know it's difficult. We all have different things to balance. So I appreciate the comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney, and thank you again, Madam Chair.
No problem. I just, I wanted to make a comment. Personally, your comment, Commissioner Griffith, hits home for me as well. I had an extended member pass away in county jails a few months ago. So again, we do bring our trauma and our hurt and our pain to this commission, but also we also have to respect each other's trauma, hurt, and pain, and look forward to solutions to eliminate our hurt, trauma, and pain, particularly when we lose loved ones. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Okay, can we go to our next agenda item, nominations for 2 open commission seats?
Yes, Madam Chair, as you recall, the commission has 2 open seats for nomination. what's before you on the screen is the nomination process that was used, where we did have previous discussion on the demographics as well as the Commission's input on opportunities for increasing representations of potentially underrepresented groups on the Commission. The applications, we had previously distributed the 50+ applications to all members for review. Each member was asked to submit up to 3 names. Staff compiled the names and number of times those names were listed from all those that were received. And so today is the time where we can engage with or undertake the nominations, which would then be forwarded to the Board of Supervisors for confirmation of appointment. Next slide. There was a total of 19 names submitted. We contacted, pursuant to the Commission's direction at the last meeting, we did make contact for all applicants on the list to confirm their continuing interest. We also contacted those who had applications pending that were pending expiration to inform them of that need for remaining considered. So what we do have is we did hear back from 18 of the 19 applicants, 17 of which remain interested in serving. One current applicant on this list has been appointed to another board, that is Griselda Delgado, and therefore her time commitment precludes her from serving, but did thank for the opportunity. So, and the name with the expired application who did not resubmit is Rachel Zahn. So the lists that were distributed as part of the agenda and posted onto the webpage are the applicants' names and the number of times they were listed as applicants, and all those names with the exception of Griselda Delgado and Rachel Zahn are available for discussion. So today we ask the Commission to nominate 2 applicants. They would be forwarded to the Board of Supervisors for consideration of appointment at the next meeting. And then they would be invited to attend next month's, that would be July 27th, typo, the next HRC meeting. And I see there are 4 hands raised, Madam Chair.
Okay. We'll start in what order? We'll start in Vice Chair Nicole Murray Mariris, and then Commissioner George Corey, Commissioner Artan, and Commissioner Gina Roberts, in that order.
Thank you. I appreciate that Julia Legaspi has received the most nominations. The need I feel for Julia Legaspi to be on this commission is her years of involvement with not only the LGBTQ community, the trans community, but also the Asian Pacific Islander community, as well as many people of color organizations. I think you're all aware that the murders of trans, especially trans people of color, African Americans, Latino, is at an all-time high. The hate crimes within our community, it is focused on many times on transsexual individuals. No one needs to tell you that the legislation that is being passed now, in fact, in Texas just passed that if you are trans, parents of trans, and you start giving them hormone treatment and stuff, you could be thrown in jail. I think her voice is an important one. I think she can join our other Asian Pacific Islanders in that solid representation. But she is a person that I think involvement, activism, and leadership, not only locally, but statewide and nationally, is very important. So I nominate her, and I hope you will support this nomination. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we have Warsan Artan, George Corey, Eleanor Evans, and Gina Roberts.
Okay. Commissioner Corey?
Yes, please.
Okay, Commissioner Corey, Commissioner Warsan, Commissioner Roberts, and Commissioner Evans, in that order.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. And Commissioners, this is Commissioner Corey. I am today trying to speak on behalf of Buki Domingos. She represents a very important group, a progressive group called, related to the racial justice in San Diego. I don't believe they have a voice on our commission, and I don't believe they are being represented, and their representation is really very important, irrespective of color, ethnicity, or sex orientation, just because of their stands in general. And I would like very strongly to ask you to go ahead and vote for her to join our team in general. Thank you and have a nice day.
I believe I'm next. I don't want to get too specific, but I do, as we were going through the nomination process, something that stood out to me was if we can maybe make the application itself in the future a little bit more, maybe add some other sections. The reason why I say that, because I know that we identified certain gaps at the last meeting that we had before the nominations. I believe, for example, the Asian Pacific Islander community lacks representation on this commission. That was one area we wanted to, one group of people that we wanted to make sure we're appointing to this commission among like other communities. But going through the application, it's really hard to figure out who's who unless you know them or unless they add their work, something that specifically says, but then even then, like, do they just work for that organization or are they actually part of that community? I just kind of wanted to give that input, similar to also youth, right? Like, if we want to have more youth representation on this commission, we need to have a place to indicate that on the applications, that there's no place, there's no way to tell that if a young person is 24 and under. So I just wanted to kind of give that input, and maybe as we're also considering the applicants here, we can also talk about, like who does work in those communities at the least, for folks that have the twos. I think Julia is an obvious one, but for the other folks.
I think I'm
Gina?
up next.
Yeah.
I'd like to put forth Betty Wells as an opportunity. If you look at our demographics, it seems that there's a huge, the demographics are definitely covering minority areas. East County, not so much. I went through all the paperwork and I followed this procedure a lot the last time we did this. And I think that Betty Wells has worked with a lot with trauma patients and a lot of other people with mental issues and with another insight that I think we could really benefit from. I know Julia from many years ago, and I certainly wouldn't not support that as an opportunity. So.
Thank you. Commissioner Evans, and then Commissioner Gillies.
Good morning. I would like to nominate Max Desposti. I know Max has worked within the North County community. He's very much involved. In fact, he established the LGBTQ Center. He's focused on transgender youth as well as LGBTQ youth. He came into the Oceanside, I say North County school districts with programs to sensitize staff and faculty to be aware of the needs and recognizing and implementing programs that would help all youth. When a high tide raises every boat. So Max has received recognition statewide for his work, and I think he would be an excellent asset for this organization. He does represent several demographics. And in saying that, I don't know if it's allowed, but Modita Tawari, in terms of geographic, I think she would be excellent. As I was asked to nominate her, I'll be quite frank. I don't know her personally. I know people who know her. So I'm going based on their reputation, that she would be wonderful for this committee. And as she's needed in regards to her ethnicity, which is Asian, I believe. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we have Member Gillies, Member Choi.
Thank you. I would like to speak for Devorah Marcus. She is a rabbi at the largest synagogue in East County. She has a very large interfaith congregation. She is an activist. She works with Alliance San Diego on the immigration and interfaith issues. And I think that, as we've talked about at this commission, with the Jewish community being the #1 target of religious-based hate crimes, it is really important to have a strong voice like Rabbi Devorah. So she's very outspoken, and she's a strong and important member of the community, particularly in East County. So thank you.
Member Choi.
Thank you. First of all, this list is great and just a testament to the momentum for this commission and how there's so many folks from various parts of the county and different communities that want to join this work. So I want to voice my support for Sarah Farouk. There's a slight typo there in her name, Sarah. I don't know her personally, so there's no personal bias there. But in viewing the applications, I really see her standing out as someone who's fairly young, someone who graduated from college only a year ago and has already done some great intersectional work. She, out of East County, she represents both the Muslim American community as well as working for Asian American Advancing Justice, which is a very reputable organization in California, and that works across different important spaces that collaborates with Jewish communities, African American and Latino communities. So I see her as definitely a strong voice that also can really be that rising, emerging leader that can represent community. So just want to voice support for that. And also didn't get a chance to also share that I'm stepping off of this commission, but the good news is I'm continuing to work as part of the staff at the Office for Equity and Racial Justice. And so in my representation in terms of my community, there will be someone that will be nominated through the San Diego API Coalition. So that will be, should be on the agenda for the next meeting as well. So not goodbye for me, thankfully, and I'll still be partnering with everyone here. So thank you.
Madam Chair, Member Griffin Jones has her hands up, and there we still see hands up from Vice Chair Arton and Eleanor Evans. If those, I think they may have been from prior. Just let us know.
Right. Okay.
My hand is down.
Okay.
Commissioner Christina?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I wanted to express my support for Sarah Farouk and Meshkan Afshan. Both of these folks, they are very, they are artists at building solidarity across racial, ethnic communities, and they also are folks who have deep trust in all communities in San Diego County. Sarah, as well as Meshkan, also do a lot of work in making sure that folks who are undocumented, that their stories are told, as well as folks in the refugee community and folks who live in prisons and jails. So I just wanted to voice my support for them.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Arton's hand is up.
Yes, I guess I want to third Samuel's recommendation for Sarah Farouk. I met her through, before she went off to Berkeley, she was doing work also with the Pillars of the Community, which is a local organization, block-led organization that is rooted in criminal justice reform. And I think she's somebody who's rooted in the community, who's very passionate about this work, who I think will have a lot to bring from experience and expertise to this commission. So I just wanted to third that that nomination.
Thank you, Vice Chair Arton.
Madam Chair, I don't see any other hands up. So the commission can do a few different things. They could make a motion to nominate a slate. They could take certain names. There have been a number of names mentioned. They could take the names individually if they like. You do have some of those options. There are 2 open seats, and the areas at the last meeting that commissioners noted as opportunities for increasing representation were Asian Pacific Islander, transgender, and Jewish communities. Those were the areas of the communities that were discussed or raised at the last meeting. We now have a list of all these names other than the 2 I mentioned at the top of the meeting, who are all available and have continuing interest.
One comment, we do have transgender covered again.
So
Okay.
it's at the pleasure of the commission if somebody wants to make a motion, if they want to nominate a slate, so that we can take the roll call. There was a number of names mentioned. So now it would be appropriate to.
I'd like to make a motion to accept Julia, last name I can't pronounce, and Betty Wells.
I second the nomination.
That was motion. I'm sorry, motion for Julia Legaspi and Betty Wells.
Yeah.
Well, what about also Buki Domingos?
There's only 2 seats open. And so,
well, excuse me, Claudia, my understanding is you are going through a motion to vote on, and you have already selected 2 names.
No,
I haven't selected any.
Okay.
The commission can make nominations. They can do it as a slate, or they can do it as individual names. There was a motion to nominate both Julia Legaspi and Betty Wells as the 2 nominees, and there was a second.
My apologies. My apologies. I didn't hear the second name being mentioned when the motion was posed.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, Nicole. I didn't hear Gina Roberts's second name. I thought it was just Julia Legaspi. So I just nominated Julia Legaspi as her own by herself. So I withdraw. I do not know the other individual.
So you're withdrawing.
That was nominated.
You're withdrawing your
Yes.
second? Okay, on that motion.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second to Member Roberts's nomination of Julia Legaspi and Betty Wells as a slate?
I'll second.
Who is the second?
Summer.
So we have a motion and a second. Are there any other
May I
comments?
suggest, please, that we go per individual, because for instance, I may be for Julia, but I'm not for Betty. And now you are putting me in a condition where I'm going to have to vote a no. And accordingly, I am suggesting to modify the motion to go with single names at this time rather than a slate.
So you could substitute a motion for a single name, and if there's a second, the substitute motion would take precedence on the vote to the other motion.
I do substitute the slate to have at this time only a single name, which is Julia.
I second that. This is Nicole. I second that motion.
That would be Julia Legaspi.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a substitute motion. Is there any discussion? You do have two hands up, Madam Chair. You have a member Elliott Santos and member Roberts.
Okay.
My hand's down. I was already.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I also just wanted to ask that we be allowed to vote individually. It seems more fair to me. I think it'll take less time, and I think we all do have our different choices. So I definitely support Commissioner Curry's substitute motion. Thank you.
Okay.
Then it becomes a race to the times. My hand's back up. But I will change my motion to just Julia Lagasse.
So you are voting for the modification.
Yeah, I just changed my we eliminated the need for your substitution, just changing my motion to just Julia Lagasse.
Julia, okay.
And is the maker of that second in concurrence with the
That was
well, I second that.
well, there was that original motion was seconded by Summer Stephan. So does the second of that motion agree to the amendment, obviating the need for the substitute motion?
Sure, yes.
Okay. So the original motion by member Roberts, seconded by Summer Stephan, has been modified to nominate Julia Lagasse. Any other discussion? Oh, sorry about that. Looks like there was a recording glitch. If are you asking if you can make a motion so that we could take the votes on two people? A commissioner can say yes to one, yes to the other, or no to one, yes to the other, all in one roll call for efficiency.
Yeah, can we do? Is that allowed?
Sorry about.
So they will still be separate, like nomination.
Right. We can do that.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm confused now.
So we can, the commission in making their nominations can nominate individuals. And what the vice chair is asking for is, can we have two motions on the table so that they can mark each? Yes, we can do it. It can be confusing
Yes.
So it may be easier, in all honesty, to go name by name so that we have a very clear record of who is voting for whom.
Right.
Okay, got it. That's easier. Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay. So are we ready to call the, member Perez has her hand raised.
Sorry, Claudia and Madam Chair, this is just information for you. Due to personal family matters, I was unable to review any of these applicants, so I want to abstain from this vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chair, would you like me to take the roll call for the vote?
Yes, please.
This is for the commission to nominate Julia Lagasse as for one of its two open seats, which will be forwarded to the board. Member Anaya.
Aye.
Member Arton.
Aye.
Member Kate Chasen.
Abstain.
Member Kate Clark.
Abstain.
Estelle de los Rios.
Aye.
Kara Desert.
Aye.
Angela Elliott Santos.
Aye.
Rashid Essa.
Aye.
Eleanor Evans.
Aye.
Rodney Fowler.
Aye.
Tammy Gillies.
Aye.
Bill Gore.
Aye.
Christina Griffin Jones.
Aye.
Taha Hassan.
Abstain.
Dennis Hodges.
Abstain.
George Corey.
Aye.
Nicole Murray Ramirez.
Aye.
Ellen Nash.
Abstain.
Gina Roberts.
Aye, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, aye, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Summer Stephan.
Aye.
Samuel Choi.
Aye.
And then Elena Perez, I'll mark as you voiced your abstention. That motion carries. I'm double counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That motion carries with 16 ayes and 6 abstentions. Okay. Member Corey has his hand up, Madam Chair.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Corey. I would like to have a motion to go ahead and elect Buki Domingos to the team.
I would second that.
Take the vote on that. Member Anaya?
Aye.
Member Orson, I'm sorry, Vice Chair Arton?
Abstain.
Kate Chasen?
Abstain.
Kate Clark?
Abstain. Abstain.
Estela de los Rios?
Aye.
Kara Desert?
Abstain.
Angela Elliott Santos?
I vote no.
Rashid Essa?
Abstain.
Eleanor Evans?
I'm going to abstain.
Rodney Fowler?
Rodney's going to abstain.
Tammy Gillies?
Abstain.
Bill Gore?
Abstain.
Christina Griffin Jones? Christina Griffin Jones?
Abstain.
Taha Hassan?
Aye.
Dennis Hodges?
Abstain.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Abstain.
Oh, okay, thank you. George Corey?
Aye.
Nicole Murray Ramirez?
Aye.
Ellen Nash?
Abstain.
Gina Roberts?
Aye.
Summer Steffen?
Abstain.
Samuel Choi?
Abstain.
And Elena Perez, you had indicated abstention earlier, so that will be marked. That motion fails for insufficient number of votes, yes votes. Are there any other motions? I see 2 hands, Tammy Gillies, Christina Griffin Jones, and George Curry, Madam Chair.
Okay, in that order.
Thank you. I would like to put forward as a nomination Devora Marcus.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Nicole Murray, second.
I believe Kate Clark was the second. Beat Commissioner Murray Ramirez, is that correct?
Yes.
So we have a motion and a second for Devora Marcus. We'll call the roll. I need to make another column. Okay. Pedro Anaya?
Abstain.
Orson Arton?
Abstain.
Kate Chasen?
Abstain.
Kate Clark?
Aye.
Estela de los Rios? Estela de los Rios? Kara Desert?
Abstain.
Angela Elliott Santos?
Abstain.
Rashid Essa?
Aye.
Eleanor Evans?
Abstain.
Rodney Fowler?
And abstain.
Tammy Gillies?
Aye.
Bill Gore?
Aye.
Christina Griffin Jones?
Abstain.
Taha Hassan? Taha Hassan?
Abstain.
Dennis Hodges?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Is that abstain or yay?
Abstain.
Okay. George Corey,
Abstain.
Nicole Murray Ramirez,
Aye.
Ellen Nash,
Abstain.
Gina Roberts,
Aye.
Summer Stefan,
Aye.
Sam Troy,
Abstain.
Elena Perez is abstained. That motion fails for lack of sufficient yeas. We
Claudia,
have
am I
George
next?
Corey and Christina Griffin-Jones. Yes.
I would like to go with a nomination of Sarah to the Sarah Farouk to the committee, the commission.
Is there a second?
I second Christina Griffin-Jones.
Okay. Pedro, we'll go ahead and call the vote on the motion to nominate Sarah Farouk. Pedro Anaya,
Aye.
Warsan Arton,
Aye.
Kate Chasen,
Abstain.
Kate Clark,
Abstain.
Estela Dos Rios, Kara Desert,
Aye.
Angela Elliott Santos,
Aye.
Rashid Essa,
Aye.
Eleanor Evans,
Aye.
Rodney Fowler,
Hello?
Rodney Fowler,
Yeah, aye.
Tammy Gillies,
Abstain.
Bill Gore,
Abstain.
Griffin Jones, Christina Griffin Jones, sorry.
Aye.
Taha Hassan,
Aye.
Dennis Hodges,
Abstain.
George Corey,
Aye.
Nicole Murray Ramirez,
Aye.
Ellen Nash,
Abstain.
Gina Roberts,
Aye.
Summer Stefan,
Aye.
Samuel Choi.
Aye.
Elena Perez, your blanket, your abstention from all will be noted. And that motion carries with 14 votes. So that Sarah Farouk and Julia Legaspi are the two nominees that will be forwarded to the board for confirmation for appointment, and we will notify them as soon as the board takes its action. Madam Chair, that concludes that agenda item. We do have on the next item is the approval of the minutes, but we also have the presentation of the county budget. If you would like to take them out of order to hear the county budget first, given that we are coming up 6 minutes till top of the hour, and the presentation is about, I think, 7 minutes.
Okay, let's go.
So we'll, if Denise,
Yes.
if you could share the screen with Brian Haggerty and, sorry, and Fatima, I'm drawing a blank on the name. I'm sorry, Fatima Barredo. Brian Haggerty is the Director of Financial Policy and Planning, and Fatima Barredo is our Financial Policy and Planning Manager, and they will be presenting on the county budget.
Okay,
Welcome. Welcome.
So I'm Brian Haggerty, and I am relatively new to the position. You're more familiar with Ebony Shelton. She was the Director of the Office of Financial Planning for 10 years. So you're going to have to get used to a new face now. I've been here for a little less than a year. And I'm here today as the director to provide a budget overview. But first, I'd like to turn it over to Fatima Barredo. She's our manager, and she's going to cover some of the details of the budget. And then when I get to me, I'm going to talk a little bit about the equity focus and the community outreach that we've invested in this year's op plan. So can everyone see that slide on the screen, the cover? And I'll
We're
ask.
not seeing it yet.
Okay, let's try something else here. Maybe all you're seeing is my beautiful face.
We are seeing you, and we have we're, at least on my screen, I see all of our commission.
Okay.
Is it not screen sharing?
Let me attempt something here.
Yeah, screen sharing is not being easy today. There we go. It's showing now, Brian.
Okay, let's see if we can go full screen on it. We still on partial screen?
Partial screen.
Okay. Well,
It might take a little bit of time if you can get up to that little icon at the top. Near the save button.
I've also provided you, Claudia, with a copy.
Okay, I will send those out to the commission with all of the slides today.
Okay.
First, I can't get to. Let's see if I can. If you hit slideshow, it should convert it. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
It's slideshow and then from the beginning on the first icon.
Apologize for my incompetence in this area.
You can just page through it too.
Yeah.
Just click on number 2 there and it'll go to the next one.
Sure. Yeah, I was trying to go full screen with it, but okay. Fatima, I'd like to turn this over to you.
Yes. So good morning. My name is Fatima Barredo. I am the manager in the Office of Financial Planning, and I'm happy to briefly summarize the contents of the CAO recommended operational plan. And then, like Brian mentioned, I'll turn it over to him for comments about equity and community outreach. On May 26 and 27, county staff presented an overall county budget of just over $7 billion and nearly 18,500 staff years for consideration. The recommended budget is an increase of $480 million or 7%, and investments are being made to promote equity by investing in people. Staff seeks to make this a budget for all county residents, especially the most vulnerable. The 3 primary drivers influencing this year's budget growth include the restart of the county's capital program, resources to continue regional leadership in the COVID-19 response, and to support investments in our workforce. Next slide, please. As we move on to staffing, you may recall the Air Pollution Control District became an independent agency in March. Adjusting for this transition, staffing levels are increasing by 660 staff years or FTEs. When APCD is included in the overall numbers, the overall increase in staff is 496. And with that said, our workforce delivers the services, smiles, vaccines, and so much more that make our county successful. We're adding more staff in the next budget to ensure those who need our services the most can have the access they need. Half of the staffing increase will bolster our essential safety net services, provide treatment and wraparound services to our most vulnerable and at-risk populations, and help San Diego's working families navigate through the county to get access to resources. The other half of the staffing increase is concentrated in public safety, including additional nurses, health and mental health staff to provide services to victims of crimes, for juvenile diversion, and to improve public defense. Staffing is also being added to public works and land use activities, for legal services, and to promote community outreach and engagement. Next slide, please. General purpose revenues, or GPR, are the county's only source of discretionary revenue, and they are projected to increase next year by $131 million or 9% to just under $1.6 billion. These revenues are allocated to county services based on an analysis of available program revenues, federal or state service delivery obligations, and the priorities and strategic direction set by the board. County general purpose revenues are highly dependent upon the assessed value of real estate. And although local median home prices are seeing intense growth, overall valuations could be impacted by COVID-19's effect on commercial property values. For this budget, staff is recommending an assessed value growth assumption of 3%. This year's budget makes no formulaic allocations of general purpose revenues, but instead reflects those general purpose or redirects those general purpose revenues to new priorities of the board while maintaining our long-term strategy to prepare for future labor, pension, and capital costs. And now I'll hand it over to Brian for our next slides.
Thanks, Fatima. So this year's operational plan includes a number of strategies for addressing equity through county services. So let's start with some of the organizational changes that have been made recently. We have the Homeless Solutions and Equitable Communities Department in Health and Human Services, which includes the new Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. And that's to improve coordination of existing and future county homeless activities and programs to end homelessness and to devote efforts to upstream prevention with a particular focus on economic inclusion and poverty reduction, as well as ensuring that the region is welcoming to all residents. We have, of course, with Andrew Strong on the line, we've got the Office of Equity and Racial Justice, a relatively new service for us. And it's devoted to engaging the community to co-create transformative, enduring, structural, and systemic change in San Diego County government. We also will have the Office of Labor Standards and Enforcement, and that'll provide a central location to provide education and resources to workers and employers on labor laws, and then conduct research and data collection on worker issues and take on additional enforcement measures to protect workers. We also have the Office of Evaluation, Performance, and Analytics, and that was mainly established to support a comprehensive approach to evidence-based policymaking within all county departments. And then we have the Office of Environmental and Climate Justice and the Land Use and Environment Group. And that's based on the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of people of all races, cultures, and incomes and national origins with respect to the development, the adoption, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. So a lot of ground to cover there, and all of these are new services. So next slide, please. We've made some key investments in county operations. Fatima talked about that a little earlier with increased inmate medical and mental health services, no-cost phone and video visitation in our detention facilities. We're getting vaccines and other crucial health services out to areas that have traditionally been underserved in populations. And also on the environmental front, we're tackling some of those issues in communities that are disproportionately impacted by pollution and environmental constraints, areas like Tijuana River Valley with our Smuggler's Gulch efforts and things along those lines. So, and then our budgetary practices, which is what we're here to talk to you about. We have an increased transparency in our budget process and our financial data. We're incorporating now, as of June 8th, equity impact statements in all of our board letters for board decisions to be made to provide a context for how each budget decision is going to make an impact in our equity issues here at the county. And then finally, we're developing a budget equity tool for next year, for next fiscal year 22-23, in the process of doing that right now. And that's also part of a larger effort to not only talk about equity, but also to fund it properly. And so that's a very important thing that we're working on with the Office of Equity and Racial Justice. So next slide, please. We were asked to describe some of our efforts this year for community outreach. What did we do to get the input from the community to determine whether we're on the right track with this operational plan? So in January, we had 3 new board members join us, and we sat down with all 5 board members and we asked them, what are your budget priorities and how will that reflect, the needs of your constituents? And so we met with each of those. And then in March, as you may know, the American Rescue Plan Act was enacted by the federal government, which then yielded $648 million of allocations directly to the County of San Diego to deal with the economic impacts of COVID-19 and the response to COVID-19, and to carry on some of the work that we've done with CARES Act funding. So shortly after that, we held community meetings with each district, and that was the week of March 15th. And for those meetings, which were virtual, we provided translation services in multiple languages as the meeting actually live translation. May 6th, we released the operational plan to the public, made it available on our open budget portal for people to go in and look to see exactly what was in the op plan. And then this was new to us for this year, something that we got from the city of San Diego and various other cities that we've observed. On May 26th and 27th, we had departmental budget presentations and took public comment and made selected departments available to the board and to the public to explain what was in their proposed operational plan. June 2nd through 10th, we held community budget hearings for those board offices that wanted to have those, and we held them in the evenings. We held them virtually. We held them with interpretive services during the meetings, so make them as fully accessible as possible to explain what was in the budget and their feedback for what was seen in the operational plan up to that point. And now, as you may know, we're in the middle of public hearings. They opened on June 14th. We held an evening meeting on June 16th. We're continuing to accept changes to the operational plan up until 5 p.m. tomorrow, when the County Budget Act, which is part of the government code for the California state legislation, says that we do not accept changes after 5 p.m. in writing tomorrow on June 23rd. So those are the things that we wanted to explain as far as community outreach. Next slide, please. And I knew we flew through this presentation and some people had to check out at noon, but we do have this PowerPoint available, but there's a lot more detail available on our open budget portal. So we've provided the link. If you have a copy of this presentation, you'll be able to click on that. Even if you have a hard copy, at least you have the full URL right there so that you can go onto the county website and see a lot more detail. So subject to your questions, that concludes our presentation.
Thank you so much, Brian and Fatima. Really appreciate you taking the time to meet with the commission. Commission members, you will be getting these slides. So, and they will also be made available to the public on the webpage. I do see one hand, Madam Chair, Member Evans. And Vice Chair Arton.
Compliments to Mr. Haggerty. My hand was not raised though.
Oh,
okay. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
My screen, it is. On my
funny.
screen, it's giving us a high five.
Really? Okay.
Now it's down. It is down now.
Okay.
Vice Chair Arton.
Yeah, I know that we're over time. We're running late. But I just want to say thank you so much for the presentation. Really appreciate it. I also I was following the budget hearing on the 16th. And I wanted to highlight an issue that was brought up by some community members in relation to, especially we're talking about equity, in relation to the staffing for specific offices. Some community members called in and pointed out the lack of staffing for the public defender's office in comparison to the district attorney's office. So I just wanted to highlight that. My understanding of the functions of the public defender's office and the district attorney's office is that one is the county prosecutor and the other the county defender for those who cannot afford to hire lawyers. And if we're talking about equity, I think it's really important that we fund the public defender's office as much as we fund the district attorney's office to make sure that young or individuals who are going through the process have a fair chance of what is it called, a fair chance to to have somebody to defend them in that process. So I just wanted to highlight that because it was an issue that was mentioned by individuals who called into the 16th budget hearing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I don't see any other hands raised.
I have a couple of questions. It's a great presentation. Thank you. I wish we had more time to spend on the budget. However, I'm impressed that you do have community meetings and input. But a couple of questions. When you talk about, putting everything into perspective under equity, I need to get a clear understanding if number one, if it's something that you haven't done in the past in terms of applying equity, please describe, or at some point, if you could provide me as a description of how you plan to do that. You have to, first of all, you have to have understanding of equity, and you have to be able to apply the knowledge. So I would like to get a better understanding of you know, you can use the term, but then how are you going to apply it? If you can give us examples of that. It doesn't have to happen now, but you can email if you would like. And secondly, on the ARPA, $648 million, how is that included in this budget? How is that applied? You said there's 648 million, but how is it actually reflected in those categories that you have described in your earlier PowerPoint? Again, these are questions I have. You don't have to answer them now because we're really running out of time. But if you can respond in within the PowerPoint that you provide to us, that'd be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. And I can offer some brief answers just for the sake of time. You know, as we build this, what we're referring to as the budget equity tool, it's going to require a lot of input and you're absolutely right. We can say equity all day, but if that terminology doesn't have any meaning behind it, what's it worth? It doesn't really effectively give you anything to follow in the op plan or in the budget. How's it translated into dollars? So fully understand that. So we're working very closely with Andrew Strong and also gaining a lot of input from the departments. And the first step, I believe, in getting them to start thinking along those lines a little more clearly was with the creation of the equity impact statement. For all of the things that are being brought to the board for a decision, there's now an absolute requirement that says you must tell us how this action is going to either positively or negatively impact the equity situations that we're facing with the county. Also with the data evaluation team that's being put in place, they're hoping to what we call disaggregate data that we currently have and break it into meaningful pieces where you can actually find areas where investment resources is actually going to make a difference. That's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. We have some ideas, but I appreciate you giving us a little extra time to give you more meaningful answers instead of me trying to answer it on the spot right here. As far as the ARPA question is concerned, yeah, $648 million. What the board voted to do was to appropriate the entire amount in the current fiscal year. And then as we evolve through the next 4 years, which is roughly how long that ARPA funding is available, to then begin to put it into the places that it's needed to refine the programs, whether it be food distribution, et cetera, so that it's used correctly and not to rush into it. Now, if you're looking at the next year's budget, which is fiscal year 21-22, there is a portion that is identified that will be using ARPA funding. But before we get into that, that's something I'd rather answer offline to give you the more specifics. But yes, there's definitely a part of the budget for 21-22 that is built upon ARPA funding. Some of this was built before the ARPA guidelines fully came out. So some of it was speculative in nature, but we're refining those numbers now. But yeah, we'll get you better answers.
Okay, thank you.
I believe Nicole Murray, Vice Chair Murray Ramirez's hand was up, but I don't know if it still is.
Yes. Before the meeting ends, I wanted to apologize to Commissioner Jones if I came across disrespectfully, because that was not my intent. And I hope that I can call her and get to know her better and have better communication. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Nicole Murray Ramirez. Okay. It is now 12:14. And as you can see, first of all, I want to thank commissioners for allowing us to go 45 to 50 minutes on the current issue around Coronado High School and actions that we're going to take. I think was very important. And I know we had to suspend some of our items on the agenda, but it was so important because our youth, our young people are our leaders of today. And we must help them become who they truly are so they could, again, represent America's finest city. And we want to continue trying to uphold those standards. So we'll do whatever we have to do in order to ensure our young people are represented of that particular standard. With that said, Claudia, is there anything else good for the order, or are we adjourned?
Madam Chair, we will trail those other items that we didn't get to, and there are no other items to discuss, and you can adjourn.
So meeting adjourned. Have a great day. Hopefully I can see some of you at 5 o'clock. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.